My name is Deborah, and I will be presenting an overview of the manual and PowerPoint entitled Preventing Youth Violence Through Sport. Each year, an estimated 200,000 young people aged between 10 and 29 years are murdered, making homicide the fourth leading cause of death of this age group. Millions more sustain violence-related injuries that require emergency medical treatment, and countless others go on to develop mental health problems and adopt high-risk behaviors such as smoking, alcohol, and drug abuse as a result of the violence they experience. Using reference from many writers, authors, and organizations that are campaigning against youth violence, this Youth Violence Intervention Strategy Manual is presented in its expansion for use through the concept of sport. The simple basic training that coaches or trainers, teachers, whoever will be responsible for the youths will establish a basis that will enable them to work with the manual under discussion. I will also use the reputation, appeal, and influence of sport to impart social skills to the youth, which will influence them positively. Sport is able to provide support and response to the eagerness of youths in resulting to violence, whilst adequately taking into account the risky psychological condition of youths who turn out to be victims by extreme violence. Violence has a tendency of manifesting in different ways in society, either directly or indirectly, and the repercussions are no less dire. Now, coaches or instructors are to learn instant intervention techniques when required, or take youths in question to specialists who are ready and able to provide assistance. It is imperative that coaches learn to analyze and recognize the different forms of violence. This module will assess adequate reaction possibilities and operative interventions that will also assist in providing training techniques needed for conflict resolution. Chapter 1 will discuss on how youths respond to different forms of violence and how they can be supported in handling and resolving them. This chapter will recognize youth's role as victims and as agents of violence, whilst removing them from the environment of violence and ushering them to other alternatives to using violence. As the youths learn from each other, it is imperative in Chapter 2 to offer these youths a more suitable conflict solution model that teaches them about the potential characteristic in peer education and the power and influence of applying learning processes that relate to group dynamics. Finally, youths will be introduced to methods of rectifying as we stage the positive energy of sport experiences like football, rugby, and netball to the lives of the youths in the community. The ambitious goal of this unit is to allow the youths to leave the seminar or workshop with a relevant personal plan, which they can individually draft, and to ensure it contains concrete goals to strive to. Activity 1 will try to determine whether the learners have gained knowledge with regards to the topic, what is youth violence? In groups of 3, they would be required to discuss their understanding of youth violence and how it impacts the community. How they would respond to Helen Cole's statement on, I quote, "How violence is defined and who defines it have significant impacts and repercussions with regard to the study of violence, law enforcement, criminal justice, and juvenile justice responses to violence, in particular youth and family violence, as well as the planning, development, implementation, and evaluation of violence prevention and intervention programs across the lifespan." In his book, this I quoted from Helen Cole's book titled Violence in Context, Current Evidence on Risk, Protection and Prevention. Activity 2 will require learners to list examples of youth violence in the home, community, and school. Activity 3 seeks to find out whether learners have whether learners are familiar, learners are familiar with any sport that may be understood to have violence amongst players and referees, or has occasional fan riots. That means the learners will be asked whether they're familiar with any sport that they understand to have occasional fan riots. And also, learners will be asked who they think is the most violent sportman, or woman. Activity 4 is a role-play scenario about John, who confides in Tom about a girl he's having a crush on. John eventually asks the crush out on a date, which she agrees to, and then Johnny runs into Tom during the date, who starts flirting with John's crush in his presence. This gets John upset and angry, causing him to yell at Tom and walk away, taking his date with him. And then at the next practice session, Tom starts telling everyone about John's crush and how he almost wooed her away from Johnny. Then Tom also starts calling Johnny a baby. After the role-play scenario, learners are presented with the following discussion questions. As opposed to yelling and being angry at his teammate, what could Johnny have said or done to defuse the situation when his date was interrupted? What is the right way of reacting to a teammate who constantly laughs at others during practice sessions? What should the rest of the team do when witnessing such kind of exchange? How can you mediate such a situation in order to avoid violence and to inspire a team spirit environment? In activity 5, learners are also presented with the following questions that relate to the role of the coach. How would you deal with an extremely talented player who is involved with a notorious gang but wants to leave? A notorious gang wants to take over or invade the community sports center you're using. A notorious gang is constantly harassing your players on their way home. And fans start discouraging and booing your players during a match. An opposing team appears to be cheating and the referee seems to be ignoring the incidences. And finally, an opposing team appears to be cheating when the referee is not looking. Thank you.
Why are the children so angry? I want you to picture a child in school, coming to school from an environment where his parent, let me put it that way, earns $16,000 a year. And that child probably has a lot of issues to deal with, a lot of missing things in his life that other kids might have. I want you to think of a kid who's coming to school not having had breakfast, and the first meal he has, he gets it from somebody else at school. Why? Because when he wakes up in the morning, or when she wakes up in the morning, the parent is gone because she has to go and cook for somebody else's breakfast at a restaurant. And if that kid is the oldest kid with two other siblings, she might be the one to take care of the siblings. So some kids, one, are having to live life of adults when they are really kids themselves.
They wear their anger. They feel entitled to their anger. And how do you take that from somebody, especially when they wear it as a piece of armor? This gets me through my day. If my environment is messed up, or I'm not doing okay in school, I'm tough and I don't have to feel. They have poor insight. They don't understand that my actions do affect other people. How would you feel if this happened to you, or if someone told you this? And even that simple perspective is almost a new thing for them. We say the reason the kid has this crazy looking room and everything's everywhere is because that's a mirror of their internal environment. And so inside is this vortex, and what comes out is disorganized. The best thing that I can help them do is understand that there are consequences. That's one of the biggest things, is there are consequences to our actions. And what about responsibility? Most of them externalize blame. They made me do it.
I'm 14. I was going with an older guy. He was 22. When I first became a G or folk or whatever, there was this mission that I had to accomplish. And if I didn't accomplish it, then I would get a punishment for not achieving it. So, but my mission was I had to go with some friends to watch them beat an old man to death, which was not a good experience for me, because like I had dreams and stuff about it, and I wish I never had done it, even though I didn't participate in it. I just saw what all happened. If I get out, in order for me to get out the gang, I have to kill either my mother or my uncle. And I'd rather just stay in it, than kill my mama, because my mama is the closest person to me. So I'd rather just stick with it. So I didn't have a father figure, and my mother, she was like continuously working, and it felt like, to me, I feel like I was the mom, because I was always at home, my little sister and brothers, and I had to protect them. I'm straight AB honor roll student, mostly ages 8 honor roll. Honestly, if I would have to put my life in danger just to get out of this gang and get my education, I'd do it. Ain't nothing that I haven't seen. I seen I've seen girls get raped and beaten. I've seen people get shot. People get shot in the head and seen their brains. I just seen a lot of gross stuff in my lifetime. So, I would basically tell them not to disrespect your mama, because if nobody be there and you in a gang, your gang can die out, but your mama gonna always be there for you until she die. Me being in the gang for almost 6 years, it ain't fun.
It's a call no parent wants to receive. The principal of Dr. Malan High School was forced to phone Lerato Khotleng's parents on Tuesday.
When I got to the school, I found her lying on the ground, surrounded by teachers. I thought she was dead as her eyes were closed. I screamed and shook her until she came around.
A break time tiff between friends had apparently spiraled out of control. Lerato was airlifted to the Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital after she was stabbed in the neck, allegedly by a 17-year-old schoolmate. It's not clear what the two pupils were arguing about.
This has shocked me because we know the girl who stabbed her. She is Lerato's friend and often comes around to visit.
The school has directed all queries to the Gauteng Education Department. The 17-year-old has been charged with attempted murder and released to her parents' care. She cannot be identified as she is still a minor. Sibongile Mkanimpolweni, Meyatin, Gauteng.
News that moves. enca.com.
My name is James Jenkins, and this is my story, along with the stories of some of the kids in my town.
You're just going through a phase.
I'm gonna send my man out there.
I'll be a big man.
All right, little man. You wanna ride? You gotta ride.
Sport is so powerful. It can be magical at times. Everyone thinks of sport as fun, and it's healthy, and it makes you feel good. You put that together, and you work with kids who've struggled in life, and you can see a lot of magical things happen. You see how, at the end of each session, how they come together, how they sit together, how they praise each other, how they praise not only themselves, but those that they were against. It's powerful stuff.
Youth love to be involved in sports because then they're able to tell their peers, I'm on the football team, or I'm on the basketball team. And I think that's one of the greatest pulls that we have with the kids, is that it's something that almost all kids want to be a part of. And it's a part of our society that most kids view sport as a normal thing. And when you attach it to therapy, it's a great hook to get kids involved.
Sport teaches us. When we train, it teaches us to dream. When we struggle, it teaches us determination. When we win, it teaches us joy. And if we lose, sport teaches us the will to try again. Sport teaches us who we really are. Who can benefit most from this lesson? Those of us who are told most frequently that we can't. Those of us who are labeled most often by others. Those of us who are judged most unfairly and told that we are this or that. Sport teaches people who they really are, and we teach people sport.
We're gonna do is change it. We are changed. We're gonna change the way we run. We're gonna change the way we eat. We're gonna change the way we block. We're gonna change the way we tackle. We're gonna change the way we win. Defense is desire.
Take a lesson from the dead. If we don't come together right now on this hollow ground, we too will be destroyed. Just like they were. I don't care if you like each other or not, but you will respect each other. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll learn to play this game like men.
All right, you really stuck him, Campbell. Yeah, I love me a little contact, Petey. Left side. Strong side! Left side! Strong side! Left side! Strong side! Left side! Strong side! Left side! Strong side! Let me ask you something, Mr. Campbell. Uh-huh. What kind of power you got? Oh, man, you know I got some soul power. What kind of power you got? What kind of question is that? I got soul power. Yes, you do. Right on. Let me ask you something now, Mr. Bertier. Yes. How strong are you? I'm too strong. What? How strong? I'm too strong. How strong? Too strong. Right on, I want a victory. Oh, I want a victory. I want a victory. I want a victory. You want a victory?
You demanded more of us. You demanded perfection. Now, I ain't saying that I'm perfect, because I'm not. And I ain't gonna never be. None of us are. But we have won every single game we have played till now. So this team is perfect. We stepped out on that field that way tonight. And if it's all the same to you, Coach Boone, that's how we want to leave it.
Forget about him. Alan, you're in. Come on.
All right. Now, I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure
They remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Leave no doubt.
Sir, they can cut the chain off the door, but they can't make us play.
We've decided we're gonna finish what you started, sir.
Yeah, so leave us be, coach. We got shit to do, sir.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Sir, I just want to say thank you. You saved my life.
Thank you, sirs. All of you.
How does it stop? How do we stop? Some say do it this way. Others see a different story. I say we need to stop the bleed. We need a revolution, a seed of imagination to plant and grow so we can see tomorrow. But the means must fit the end, or else it's blood to no end. Let's do this now. Let's do this for now. Let's start with us. Build within us. Then we can reach out and find a way out. Peace.